Hello, this is Faith of Faith and Books, and I thought I would do a little review of two books that I recently purchased. The Tarnished Garden by Alyssa Colman, and this little cookbook, Stacy's Cooking with a Smile cookbook. So this first one is by Alyssa Colman, who is a local author here. It says in the back that she's from Los Angeles, but she recently moved to my area, and she writes these lovely kind of magical realism. Is that the term? I don't do that much of that kind of fantasy reading, but they're middle grade level books, well written. I like that they're not edgy, but they deal with real issues, but they don't get edgy like in the modern sense, which to me always is a little bit nihilistic. These aren't. They're really charming and well written. And the first one, this one is a sequel to this one, The Gilded Girl, which I think I reviewed before. I must have at least mentioned it. I have to go back and look at my videos. But this one is about a young girl who works in the kitchen at a school for magic for girls who are learning to kindle. That means, so in this world, this turn of the century, of the last century, everyone's born with the capability to have magic, and there are these kindling winds that come every year, I think in December, and if it's your time to kindle your magic, then and it's around adolescence, so it's kind of a, it ties in a lot with adolescence. Then you can develop this magic, these magical gifts, but you have to be trained. It's something that has to be disciplined, because it can be dangerous, and it's something that burns. It's like, it's akin to fire in a way. And so, but in this world that she's created, the poor get their magical abilities snuffed out, and only the rich are worthy of magic. And so this is it's got a real class system in it, which echoes the class system of the turn of the century, of the last century. And so it's got like immigrants. So Izzy and her sister Maeve are daughters of Irish immigrants, and they've been orphaned. And Izzy wound up working in this kitchen of this magic school, and she really, really wants to kindle her magic. She doesn't want them to take her magic away. And the reason why is she wants to get her sister back, because her sister Maeve was sent out on the orphan train, and she wants to reunite with her sister. So she's very determined to figure it out. So she's spying on the girls, and she makes friends, and it's a complicated plot, and it's a good, satisfying ending. And at the very end, she's reunited with her sister. And this book, The Tarnished Garden, focused more on Maeve than Izzy. And they've got this school, and now, as a result of Izzy's work in the first book, poor kids are allowed to learn how to kindle their magic. But Maeve is afraid. I like this book because it really presented the point of view of someone who's been through a lot of trauma, without it being dark and edgy. I think she handled that really well, because you can feel how isolated Maeve feels, and how these fears keep coming up and blocking her. And she's working through it, with the help of a lot of different things going on. She's also dealing with jealousy with her sister Izzy, who's best friends with Emma, who was a major character in this book. So, and both of the books parallel other books. So The Gilded Girl was obviously referenced The Little Princess. And this one obviously references The Secret Garden. It doesn't do it directly maybe, or not as completely as The Gilded Girl does The Little Princess, but there is a secret garden in here. And you can see parallels. I really like the way she presented Maeve's trauma, and how, I'm using that word, that's not used in here. I really like the way she created that sensation, and then the book really focuses on the emotions, like what happens, like when something good happens, when there's you know, a moment of connection with somebody, or when something seems, you know, when everything seems lost, but then there's hope because of something. You know, the author tells us what that character is thinking, and you can see the emotions kind of evolving through the book, so that she's really working out this trauma that she's had. And there's just funny things in it too, like I'm trying to remember some of them now that I noticed. Like one of the characters is named Mrs. Nimby. And I was like, okay, Mrs. Nimby. But then there's this thing that happens where she's describing all these well-heeled people protesting something. And then I realized, oh, Mrs. Nimby, not in my backyard. So it was a little swipe at people like that who were protesting, you know, even though they're very privileged, and it's kind of a silly thing to protest over. So there were other things too. There's just a lot of clever things. One thing that I noticed is she brought in two maybe Muslim characters, two young children who are Muslim. And at the end, and then she has another character who's Jewish. And at the end, it's subtle. At the end, it turns out that they're friends. They've been working together, and they've been like allied. So like little things like that. There's little things like that in the book that I really appreciated. So yeah, I highly recommend this series for kids or adults. The Gilded Girl by Alyssa Colman, and then this just came out. This came out in 2021. This came out just a month ago or something, by Alyssa Colman, The Tarnished Garden. So yeah, and this won an award. So yeah, I think she's a good author, and I look forward to books in this series. Maybe she'll have you know, maybe it'll be a trilogy or something. So yeah, so The Tarnished Garden. And then the other book I wanted to review is Stacy's Cooking with a Smile cookbook. So Stacy is one half of the Doug and Stacy duo. They have an immensely popular YouTube channel in the homesteading circles called Off Grid with Doug and Stacy. And I used to watch that religiously, and then I sort of stopped, and then I started watching it again. I watch it off and on. But they're just really nice people. I really like Stacy. I like Doug, too. He's funny. He's got like this Amish beard, and he wears the Amish straw hat and the suspenders. But they aren't Amish, but he just has adopted that. Their homestead, which is off-grid, is in the midst of an Amish community. So I think he's just sort of adopted the look. But this is just, people kept telling Stacy, because often Stacy would feature, you know, cooking on the channel. And she's very, very well informed. I don't know if she's an actual nutritionist or what, but she's just really, really well informed about nutrition. And she's cooking on this homestead, and she'll feature these recipes. And I've actually done a couple of them before. Let's see, what did I do? I did her Haymakers, what's it called? Haymakers, let's see if I can find it. You know, it's a drink. It's like the original Gatorade. It's what they used to make, because, you know, haymaking, you do it in the high summer, and it's very hot. And so, I don't know where it is now. I can't find it. So I made that. I've made that drink before, and it was really good. Now I can't find anything. I should have marked things up. And I've also made her fermented ketchup, and I've made, let's see, where I'm trying to find, okay, here we go, appetizers and beverages. So it must be in here somewhere. Haymaker's Punch, that's the word I was looking for, punch, yeah. So that was quite good. And I know I've made other stuff. Anyway, I really like her health advice, her cooking advice, because it's very practical. She's very, very natural, trying to get all your vitamins from good, wholesome food. And I remember I reviewed a cookbook, I think almost a year ago. It was called Humble and Goose or something, and I really didn't like it because I didn't like the way the recipes were set up. I didn't understand how it worked. And it was I had heard a podcast, and the authors were talking about being seasonal, using seasonal foods and that sort of thing, which is what I want to do. I want to cook seasonally, and I want to be a locavore, and I don't want to go to the store and buy all this processed food. I want to be closer to nature, and which is why I have a big garden and everything. And I like to buy from local. I buy from the local farm. I've had CSAs, or I've gone to farmers market. So this cookbook is just more up my alley. I really do like the way she approaches. Now I have more restrictions because I'm gluten free, and I have a daughter who's going to be home in the summer, and she has very restricted diet, and so I've learned how to adjust things and that sort of thing. But I think I'm going to find this cookbook to be really useful, even though it's just this little, almost like home published. It's a nice hardback, and then it's got this plastic spine. But it seems pretty. I like that it lies flat when you're using it to cook. And I think that I can find a lot of recipes in here that I could use, or I could, adjust for our diet. So I think it's a really good channel. You might enjoy it. I'll link below. And so Stacy's Cooking with a Smile. It's a bigger hit than the other one that I reviewed last year. So that's it from me. It's so rainy and cool today. But can you hear the rain? Anyway, all right, so I'm going to go. I hope you are doing well. Happy reading. Talk to you later. Bye.